Suddenly a charming, morbid person arises from the shadows. She leaves with only screams remaining, dead bodies lying cold and bloodless. The only thing you can see is something vanishing in the shadows. With that, hello and welcome dear Paragon community to the deck guide of the Countess build Vamp, an assassin deck which focuses in invading into opposing lines, dealing massive damage and retreating safe. The deck grants her mobility, the swiftness every vampire should have. You wanna see the charming being in action? Then you should check out the gameplay of the Vamp deck, which will be demonstrated by Repsplay aka Sonic. The link for the German gameplay is beneath this deck guide. But before we rip apart some enemies, let's have a look into the Vamp deck. The prime card of the Countess Vamp deck is the Warlord, and this time I will show you how to start with Countess in the jungle. I know everybody want to hate me now because I said I want to play her in the jungle, but from my point of view you can play her on both jungle and lane. If you want to start her in the jungle, start with the Stalker's Key. If you want to play her on lane, so disequip the Stalker's Key, the Blink Charm and the Major Strike on the Adamant Edge, and you can equip the Hunter's Drink, the Mana Potion and the Strike Token. But this time, like I said, I will show you how to start in the jungle. The order of the cards, the ongoing cards, is exactly the same. It doesn't matter if you start on lane or the jungle. So if you're starting on jungle, equip the Stalker's Key so you can farm more easily. You can skill your Shadow Wave first. You don't need to skill your passive for it, because the Stalker's Key gives you all the lifesteal you need. Then on the first card points, equip the Brawler's Ward. It gives you damage so you can jungle or lane even easier, and much easier, and it gives you a good 300 bonus mana pool, which will grant you a wide variety to cast your spells. After equipping these cards, I would recommend to equip the Adamant Edge, which will grant you a good amount of HP. If you're starting in a jungle, you get these 4 upgrades. You can choose between the Major Strike and the Greater Health. I would recommend to take the Greater Health, so being more healthy at the beginning, but it's your choice. After getting the Adamant Edge, after the Brawler's Sword, you can, or you should, equip the Scoring Tails. It's your decision if you upgrade it. I would just equip the card and leave the upgrades out, because you need the active ability. For 6 seconds on hit with ability, shred 80 point physical armor from targets for 50 seconds. This means you activate your card, you cast your blink ability to get to the enemies, then there are 80 point physical armor shred of them. You can cast your whirl, cast your Shadow Wave, cast your ulti and go back very safe, because you shred is your abilities and damage are doing a lot of damage. So after equipping the Scorching Tails, I would recommend equipping the Charging Brute. Charging Brute will grant you even more damage and the passive ability for getting a kill plus 20 point movement speed for a kill for 50 seconds. This is stackable up to 280 movement speed. So when you're walking by a minion wave with, let's say, 5 minions, and you shred them down with your abilities, so the Shadow Wave and the Whirl, and they are dead, so you can move much faster, especially when the movement speed will be patched out in the future. After getting the Charging Brute, I would highly recommend to equip the Amulet of the Veteran. It will grant you 400 bonus HP and additional 39 damage. And the last but not least card would be the Fountain Spike. It will grant you a good amount of damage and a little bit of bonus mana. Until now you should have equipped it or upgraded the Scorching Tails to do even more damage. If you are saying, I don't like the active activity of Scorching Tails, or I don't have this card, you can equip the Void Steel Dagger. You will have 64 pierce all the time, so you don't need to activate it. And if you're saying, okay, Amulet of the Veteran is quite okay, and the Fountain Spike is okay too, but I want to have a little bit of armor and damage, so Spiked Boneplate and Thorned Greenweave will be your choice. With your own armor, in addition, you have about 100 bonus armor, so minions do less damage and you can easily get in and get out again. And you're doing, with these 2 damage, added more than 90 damage. At the end, if you are going the full damage build, I would call, so the Brawler Sword, the Fountain Spike, the Amulet of the Veteran, the Adamant Edge, Scorching Tails, Adamant Edge with the Major Strike, so-called, and your Charging Brute, you are doing nearly 300 bonus damage. This is quite a lot. So with this deck, she's a purely assassin. The Eternity deck, which I'll show you later, is more the passive-based tanky deck, but with a lot of damage still. So if you like this deck and don't want to kill me now because I said I want to jungle her, just leave a thumbs up, or if you got ideas to improve this deck, just write it below this video into the comments, or write me at Darksorrow on Facebook. And before we end, we have a little peek into the stats which will grant us this deck. Like you can see, we got 3 main cards, and these 3 main cards are enough to do a lot with Countess. So you got bonus damage of Brute, Brawler and the Adamant Edge. You get enough of HP, so when you get with the Adamant Edge the 600 HP, it's a lot. Bonus mana, a ward option and additional movement speed for killing minions or players. And the rest of these cards, so the rest 3 cards, are making her special. So maybe Scorching Tails is your card, or the Void Steel. It's your choose or your decision you make. From my point of view, Scorching Tails is the best for her, because it's shredding her, so your teammates, your allies, are doing damage to this hero in addition to, and I like this card, so to say. And my personal favorite is Fountain Spike and Amulet of the Veteran, which will grant me additional 400 HP. So when I got here the 600 and here the 400, I'm on 1000 HP. I'm a little bit tanky and I'm getting a lot of damage input. When you don't want these 2 cards, you can have Greenweave or Boneplate to get a little bit more armor and still have a lot of HP. When there is only one type of damage focusing you, like let's say physical, maybe you don't only need this Boneplate and can later on equip the Amulet or the Fountain Spike, so only needing one. You can choose the last 2 cards. Between these 4 cards you need 2. So check this deck out, and later on check the Vamp deck, or see the other deck guides I got for you. If you want to have a deck guide for a special hero, just write into the comments, or looking in the German section, there are a lot of deck guides more. Okay, it is in German language, but hey, these decks are great too. So see you in the next guide, I would say. Maybe it's Eternity of Countess, or there's another. Be surprised. See you and goodbye.